Terrible way to start the show, but that is what it is.
It is. And should we go to the next one? Aishwarya, this is on Operation Sindur because the impact of what happened in Pahalgam, the response was in Operation Sindur. If Aishwarya can take us through.
Absolutely. As we were just discussing, it shook the whole system. It shook the country. It shook 140 crore Indians. And it shook the government, as it should have been. And what we did was Operation Sindur. And in Operation Sindur, the whole, if you could just say, it redefined the modern warfare. It was for the first time a non-contact war between two nuclear states, you see, in which it was the, if I could say so, the largest tri-services mobilization which was done. The whole Western theatre, Abhishek, was mobilized. The whole Western theatre was mobilized. And it also changed our doctrine.
Yeah.
Now, any act of terror is an act of war.
Yeah, but besides that, I think that what had happened immediately after Pahalgam, there was this 18-day period where almost every day we would talk about.
We would ask what is happening.
Aishwarya, that when would we hit, when would we hit, when would we hit. But in our mind, we had a certainty.
Because 140 crore Indians were asking.
We knew Pulwama and Balakot. We knew that the government hits. We almost felt, if you read the mind of the government, you knew that there would be a 2-week window in which we would hit. But admittedly, Aishwarya, nobody actually imagined the nature of the attack.
9 terror camps.
We were used to surgical strikes.
9 terror camps inside the Pakistanis. As far as Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Abhishek, the strongest one which we did was this. And you say from Bahawalpur to Muridke to Marala, we hit every major terror point.
You know,
even
You know, I remember, Arnab, on the night of Operation Sindur, at around 11:30, we spoke. And we were discussing when is it going to happen.
True.
And I exactly remember the conversation. It was maybe tonight.
Yeah.
It's happening tonight.
Yeah.
That was our conversation at 11 p.m. And 1:21 is the time, between 1 and 1:30 is the time when Operation Sindur really panned out.
Yeah.
I think my takeaway from Operation Sindur is that we had a lot of deficiencies. You mentioned about the lowering of guard. During the planning of Operation Sindur itself, I think our security establishment realized that this 14-day window is not good.
Yeah.
So next time when Operation Sindur 2.0 is needed, you need that window to be just 48 hours.
Yeah.
max.
And I think that's going to be a very important takeaway. And the entire security establishment, I think, is turning around.
A clip of how we
yes,
broke
we
that
should.
story of when Operation Sindur happened. Here's how we in the newsroom broke that moment. This is that moment.
We all came back rushing.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very big breaking news day. Good morning to everyone across the country. We've hit back. Ladies and gentlemen, the big breaking news story of the moment. All right, because I want to recap exactly what is happening as of tonight, as of this minute, 33 minutes past 2 a.m. on the 7th of May. History has been made. This is a very direct and straightforward attack by the Indian Army we are reporting tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan has been hit. Muzaffarabad has been hit. A total of 9 places in Pakistan have been hit. And the government has said very clearly that we are focused, we are measured. What we are doing is non-escalatory in nature. They've said that no military targets of Pakistan have been targeted. They've also said that we have demonstrated considerable restraint, and we have demonstrated considerable restraint in the selection of the targets and the method of execution. These steps come in the wake of the barbaric Pahalgam attack in which 25 Indians and 1 Nepali citizen were targeted and murdered. We are living up to the commitment that those responsible for this attack will be held accountable. And there was going to be a very detailed briefing on Operation Sindur later today. This is the PR that I got from the Ministry of Defense. I have fantastic panel waking up with me this morning. I remember that moment. Can I make a point before I hand it over to you folks? The fact is that even when that grainy footage came from Pakistani social media, and we remember that first grainy footage there, can we show it while I speak? And that footage, if I'm not mistaken, was about these clips of fireballs There were fireballs all over, lightening up the skies near Bahawalpur, and which is Jammu Jaish-e-Mohammed Madrasa sort of, right? And there were satellite grabs which came for the first time of smoking craters in Muzaffarabad. ANI started feeding some pictures much later. The ANI visuals came much later. Yes, first were the social media visuals. Correct. Now, in today's day and age of false information, disinformation, counter information, we did not know whether we can take that at face value. And I remember being in the studio here, coming down from the newsroom, walking into the studio and asking, have you got an official confirmation? Have you got Abhishek, Aishwarya? Have you heard? Shawan, remember, I kept saying, why is the government not confirming this?
We did get the confirmation in the morning.
Yeah, but we got it. No, we got a confirmation later. Yeah. You told me, and I got a confirmation on my WhatsApp, but in today's day and age, you can't even trust unless you get it from a verified source. Yeah. So there was this 20-minute gap, viewers, when you had the footage, the Pakistanis were saying we've been bombed.
Yeah.
But the Indian government hadn't confirmed it yet because it was going through our information machinery. And imagine that situation out there. But I think there was just too much information about these craters. I remember
there was a bit of a communication fiasco for sure.
No, not communication fiasco. The Foreign Secretary's press conference happened at 8 o'clock in the morning. In the morning. I mean, you had the hits at around 1:05 to 1:30. You had channels like Republic going full on live by 2 o'clock. You had a WhatsApp confirmation that we have hit around 3:30. Yeah. 3:30. The official press conference happened only at 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock in the morning. So I think there was this gap. I just wanted to make this point. For me, being in the newsroom when there is an information flow gap requires us to, really tread on thin ice.
Absolutely.
But on a lighter note, Arnab, that night we were here till late. I remember we left office at around 11:30 and we were at home. I still remember I had just shut my eye and I got a rude jolt from my wife who told me that we have struck Pakistan, we need to run back to office. And by the time I'd entered the car, a little after 1 o'clock.
So the first call actually I got was a former Pakistani guy saying that something has happened.
Yeah.
The worst part was this, that I had to actually call up someone in the army saying that the information is coming from Pakistan. Interestingly, this time also,
across the border.
There is a point here that they essentially wanted to make. The point was that jo bhi hoga, khulkar hoga. Let people watch it.
Said that.
And they made it very clear. Yeah. So at 1:20, a little after 1:20 is when I got the first set of confirmation coming in. And in fact, we had got a list of places, about 7. A detailing of came in. Later on, it was 9. 9 terrorist camps.
Rare moment
was very clear. Yeah. The idea was absolutely clear that is bar sab kuch khulkar hoga. They will provide the evidence, not us.
Rare moment. Aishwarya was the only one in the newsroom that day. He was the only one in the newsroom that day. He broke the story. He broke the story.
But what I'm saying is, when it happened like never before.
Yeah.
It changed our doctrine. It changed the how modern warfare is done. We saw not only Pakistan, we saw Pakistan getting help from Turkey, from China, whatnot, and we still took them on and heads on, Abhishek. And as you were just saying, we hit them as far as Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
We had actually placed our reporters all across Kashmir by then.
Yeah.
I remember that.
By then we had around 8
Do we have the clip? I don't know.
12 hours we had.
There is this clip which I have of Rakshita. Rakshita was in Srinagar. She was watching it from her window and she WhatsApped me. I remember, I think I still have that WhatsApp. She said, I have got a sequence. I think it is of either drones flying or I think she was seeing UAVs, but she was also hearing sounds. She was not clear what it was, but she knew something was happening. This was around the time that Omar Abdullah had also started parallel live streaming.
Yeah, something is happening, something.
Yeah. So, can we play Rakshita's clip, please? Let's do that.
I think we can see an explosion. We hear an explosion. Jets hovering. We're right now in Srinagar, and we can actually smell some smoke. And the sky at one part became red. There was an explosion, sound, very much visible. Seems there is panic across the border.
And in that entire period, I remember as a team how each one of us here, and of course all of our colleagues, worked around the clock. We spent days and nights here in the office. Rhythm, you were also here during the coverage. I think
Yes.
we were non-stop 24/7 for those 5 or 6 days.
Even in the evenings and nights, I remember, in fact, being on air 2 a.m., Niranjan and I and Shavan, we were wondering who's going to take a break, and then one of us used to get on. Abhishek, of course, was there. And I remember the statement that Arnab was talking about. The Indian Army, 8 a.m. in the morning, had stated, today morning, Indian Armed Forces targeted air defense radars and systems at a number of locations in Pakistan. Indian response has been in the same domain with the same intensity. I then remember Rakshita, who'd actually come out there. In fact, even the visual that we were playing out, she had told us all the places that we targeted. Bhavalpur, Muridke. She'd already got it from the sources that were there in Jammu and Kashmir, clearly indicating that this was a strike on the very heart of Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar.
And by the time, Harsha was also, I think we have another clip because I want to relive the moments of that. There was immediately by early that day, the first day, there was a report from Harsha on a drone attack. And this is, viewers, please remember, this is unanticipated nature of footage, drones, by the way, have been around since the mid-90s for the United States. But in India, we've never seen drone warfare.
This was drone warfare.
Drone warfare. So this clip was very interesting. Please have a look at this.
I'll show you the visuals also because continuous noises and firing could also be heard here. I'd like to show you the visuals because at first at 1:28 p.m. when we heard the heavy noises, we got to know that the first strike was initiated from the side of Sindur and Balakot. These are the visuals. We are continuously hearing heavy shelling and this firing and this firing and this firing continuously. We have seen this firing from two sides. Near Mentor, there's one side of the area, Surankot, and the other side of the area is Degbar. And right now I'm in the middle of the Mentor
And this is for the first time, Abhishek, when drones, because earlier to that, every time one or the odd drone, one in few months, one in 6 months, used to drop off from Pakistan, or BSF or someone shooting it down. But to see drone in active war, this was for the first time.
In fact, on the 8th, 9th, and the 10th, what we saw was a counter, a response coming in from the Pakistanis, something that India had already done. India had expected. This was coming. And in fact, as far as areas that were being targeted, Pakistanis wanted to basically this time carry out the attack in Jammu. Large part of areas that were targeted were military bases. And that is exactly why, before the 10th, the call that went into our DGMO, the thing was that try and find out a way to target the military bases. Forget about military bases, even religious institutions. And in fact, Rhythm would remember this, religious institutions that were being targeted in Jammu, that very moment, Gurdwaras were being targeted.
Yes.
That is the level to which
Abhishek and I,
petulance on the part of Pakistan.
But Abhishek and I can let you in at that point of time. We spoke to some very high-level sources. Of course, can't name them, but they were of the point of view that we had achieved our objectives on the 7th of May.
Yes, 7th of May.
7th of May morning when we made those phone calls, they said we have achieved our objectives. It was the media, or rather certain sections of the media which were determined to go to Karachi and beyond. But it was clear to us, to you and me, without letting on absolutely everything, what can you share? Because our information that was coming in from the government, that they were very happy with the level of intelligence that they had gathered, both human intelligence, signals intelligence, and the application of that intelligence on the 7th itself.
Yes.
They were maybe prepared for a second round, but I didn't get a sense that the government wanted to push it much beyond that even then, because we had achieved, we had hit back disproportionately.
Yes.
Right?
And the Pakistanis, of course, gave us an opportunity to hit back at them second time, also when we took down their bases and really completely debilitated their
Can I ask you something?
War machine, Niranjan.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Is there something about Operation Sindur that has not been revealed? I feel because a lot of visuals did come in. For example, I remember in the newsroom, there was a visual from Lahore, which was never acknowledged. But there were a lot of aspects to Operation Sindur which were not in the public domain.
Niranjan is asking you that typical podcast question to get the clickbaitish first screen. Operation Sindur, what you never knew.
I can give you a.
I were afraid to ask.
I can give you a knick-knack. So when this operation was panning out, our entire military leadership, so to say, at an undisclosed location, was in a communication secure chamber, as it is called, where, you know,
War room.
A communication sealed war room where they are in control of everything. They can see everything. They could map every square inch of Pakistani territory, right? Right down to the square inch, Niranjan. And they were secure in terms of their communication, right? So, you know, Aishwarya was mentioning about the fact that Turkey helped Pakistan, China helped Pakistan, but then we were very clear what we were doing. We had real-time intelligence on the impact of our operation. And, you know, Pakistan gave us an opportunity to take down their air bases and completely debilitate their war machine. Remember, their navy had just pulled back inside the Karachi harbor, whatever little navy they have. The Air Force was flying 300 kilometers away. Yeah. And they had completely given up. Had India decided to inflict disproportionate cost or no, I believe maybe there is a conversation that maybe we should have, but we did not, I think. But I think it was, we came very close to almost decimating for a long, long time Pakistan's ability to militarily stand on its feet again.
Yeah, for example, I'll tell you one more thing. Shawan, this question is to you. You know, people like took clips of our coverage and tried to make memes saying, "Hey, inhone bol diya ki Karachi ko maar diya." No, the truth is we hit Karachi.
We did, of course.
We did hit Karachi.
One air base there, okay.
We did Karachi, yeah. But, yeah, Shawan.
Can I just add a little bit about what we did not know so much? Because about Operation Sindur, it was all about tech. It was all about using the finest state-of-the-art technology. But what we forget and what we do not highlight is the kind of human intelligence that we picked up this time. One of the finest military operation was possible only because Bahawalpur, the kind of destruction has actually happened. I can only reveal this much, that the DGMO's office, till the last moment, actually had the human intelligence of those who were present.
Yeah.
So the question that was being asked the very next day, whom did we target? Who were the people who were basically eliminated? And the fact of the matter is that Lashkar-e-Toiba had taken a huge hit, so much so that even today, Saifullah Kasuri is still saying, lamenting about the fact that for years...
He's done that yesterday.
Yeah,
See,
he's done that.
Since that question was asked, what is it about Operation Sindur that one does not know? I think that we must clearly tell viewers that between 9th and 10th, it was only optical warfare by the
Pakistanis, yeah.
Optical as in they were not really hitting militarily.
Yeah.
We saw drones coming in and our air defense artillery hit it back. So we saw these Turkish, what is called Asisgar drones. Then we saw these Yiha drones. We saw these loitering munitions. But the reality is that all of these drones were tiny compared to the real thing, you know.
Yeah.
We had hit really hard
Payload
with our
was
BrahMos. Ninth, and these are drones which carry between 4 to 5 kilograms. Yeah. They are incapable beyond the point of targeting an airbase or an ammunition depot. They can create a small hole in the ground, and that also it fell far away. Or they can sort of create some panic in civilian sites. So I think Operation Sindur had achieved its objective by 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
And after that, Pakistan needed a face saver, so they did these nighttime drone swarms. And it made for good footage, you know. Nighttime drone swarms, Indian air defense artillery hitting it back. But effectively, I think the war was over by then.
And the defining picture of Pakistan claiming they had hit Adhampur base and the Prime Minister there, you know, with S-400 in the backdrop.
Should we move to the next story? Okay. Rhythm will take us to the Red Fort attack and what it, you know, the year that we just passed 2025. Big year, last 2 months especially, Rhythm.
Yes.